Right now, even while you're watching this video, there's someone talking. Not your friend, not your family, not the person sitting next to you, but a voice you've been listening to every single day of your life. It comments on everything you do. It reminds you of old mistakes. It imagines conversations that never happen. It replays embarrassing moments you thought you had forgotten. And somehow, it never seems to get tired. The strange part is, you call that voice me. But have you ever stopped to ask, if you're the one listening, then who's actually talking? Why does your mind keep producing thoughts, even when all you want is silence? Imagine it's late at night. You've finished your work. The lights are off. Your room is quiet. For the first time all day, nothing is demanding your attention. And then, your mind wakes up. Did I say the wrong thing today? What if tomorrow goes badly? Why am I still thinking about something that happened years ago? Within seconds, a peaceful night becomes filled with imaginary problems. Your heart beats a little faster, not because you're in danger, but because your thoughts convinced your body that you might be. If this happens to you, there's nothing unusual about it. In fact, your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It isn't trying to make you happy. Its first priority has always been one thing: keeping you alive. And once you understand that, everything about the voice inside your head starts to make sense. For thousands of years, human life was unpredictable. Every day could be the difference between survival and death. Your ancestors didn't have alarms or police or hospitals. They had instinct. Imagine a man walking through a dense forest. Everything seems quiet. The wind is still. The trees barely move. But suddenly, he hears a faint sound behind the bushes. He has two choices: ignore it and keep walking, or stop and assume something dangerous is hiding there. If he's wrong, he loses a few seconds. But if he's right, he saves his life. Over thousands of generations, nature rewarded the cautious mind, not because it was happier, but because it survived. The brain learned a simple lesson. It's better to imagine danger than to miss it. That ancient program still exists today, but the world has has changed. Most people no longer worry about wild animals or finding food every single day. Yet the brain never stopped searching.
It simply found new threats, deadlines, exams, relationships, money, social approval, a delayed reply, an awkward conversation. Your brain treats many of these like survival problems.
That's why one unanswered message can stay in your mind for hours. Not because the message is dangerous, but because your brain hates uncertainty. It would rather imagine 10 different outcomes than admit it doesn't know. Your inner voice isn't trying to make you miserable. It's trying to prepare you. Unfortunately, it can't always tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. And that's why your mind rarely stays quiet.
Your brain does something strange. It doesn't just remember the past. It constantly predicts the future. Every moment, it's asking one question. What happens next?
Imagine someone sends you a message. Can we talk? That's it. No explanation, no context. Just, can we talk? Within seconds, your mind begins writing an entire story.
Did I do something wrong? Are they angry? Is something bad about to happen? 5 minutes later, you've imagined 10 different possibilities, and none of them have actually happened.
The human brain hates uncertainty. When information is missing, it fills the empty space. Unfortunately, it usually fills it with the worst possible outcome.
Thousands of years ago, this habit helped our ancestors survive. Expecting danger was often safer than ignoring it. A false alarm cost very little. Missing a real threat could cost everything. Today, the dangers are different. Wild animals have become deadlines. Predators have become social judgment. And survival has become, what will people think of me? Your brain still runs the same ancient software. It doesn't always know the difference between a lion and an unanswered message. To your survival system, both feel important. That's why one small problem can occupy your mind for hours. Not because the problem is huge, but because your brain believes thinking longer means staying safer. But here's the irony. Most of the things you spend hours worrying about never happen. Your mind creates hundreds of futures. Reality only chooses one. And while your body lives in the present, your mind is somewhere else, replaying yesterday, imagining tomorrow, rarely experiencing right now. Have you ever noticed your happiest moments share something in common? You weren't thinking very much. You were simply living the moment. Without realizing it, the voice inside your head had become quieter.
Think about laughing with your friends
watching a beautiful sunset, listening to your favorite song, or becoming completely absorbed in a hobby you love. For those brief moments, life feels effortless.
Your thoughts didn't disappear. Your attention simply moved somewhere more important. This reveals one of the biggest secrets about the human mind. Your thoughts don't control your experience. Your attention does. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded city. Thousands of voices, cars passing, music playing, people talking. At first, everything feels overwhelming.
But after a while, your brain begins filtering the noise. You naturally focus on what matters most. The same thing happens inside your own mind. Thousands of thoughts appear every single day. Some are helpful. Some are meaningless. Some are frightening. Most disappear within seconds. But the thoughts you keep returning to become stronger. Attention feeds them.
Imagine receiving a simple text. We need to talk. Just 4 words, nothing more. Within minutes, your imagination begins creating stories. Stories with no evidence. Stories that feel completely real.
This is what psychologists call rumination. It feels like you're solving a problem, but you're not. You're simply repeating the same thoughts again and again.
Real problem solving moves forward. Rumination moves in circles. Like a washing machine. Everything keeps spinning, but nothing actually goes anywhere.
The more attention you give a thought, the stronger it becomes. Not because it's true, but because your brain assumes anything you keep revisiting must be important.
So maybe the goal isn't to control every thought. Maybe the real skill is learning where to place your attention. Because attention shapes your reality.
Deep inside your brain, there's a network that becomes active whenever you're not focused on the outside world. Scientists call it the default mode network. It's where your inner voice comes alive.
The moment your work ends. The moment you stop scrolling. The moment everything becomes quiet. Your mind begins traveling. Back to yesterday. Forward to tomorrow. Rarely remaining here. This isn't a mistake. It's simply how your brain has always worked. When there's no task to solve outside, it starts creating stories inside. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't always know which stories are useful and which ones should simply be ignored. Every thought arrives looking important. Imagine someone walks past you without smiling. That's the only fact. But your mind immediately writes the rest of the story. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe I did something wrong. Reality offered one moment. Your imagination created everything else. Most emotional pain doesn't come from what happened. It comes from the meaning we attach to it. This is why two people can experience the exact same event. One sees failure. The other sees a lesson. The event didn't change. The story did. For years, you may have believed every thought that entered your mind. But what if a thought isn't a fact? What if it's only a suggestion? Think about the sky. Clouds appear, clouds disappear. Some are bright, some are dark. But the sky never becomes the clouds. It simply allows them to pass. Your awareness works the same way. Thoughts come and go. Fear comes and goes. Doubt comes and goes. But something inside you quietly watches all of it. That silent observer has always been there, watching every thought, every emotion, every memory. Maybe you were never the voice inside your head. Maybe you were always the one listening. For centuries, people believed peace meant having no thoughts at all. But modern psychology suggests something different. Peace isn't the absence of thoughts. It's changing your relationship with them. Imagine standing beside a busy highway. Cars rush past every second. Some are fast, some are slow. You can't stop the traffic. But you don't have to. Step into the road. You simply watch it pass. Your thoughts are like those cars. Some are hopeful. Some are painful. Some make no sense at all. You don't control which one appears next, but you do control whether you follow it. Meditation isn't about forcing the mind to become silent. It's about learning to notice a thought without immediately reacting to it. That small pause changes everything. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," you begin to notice, "I'm having the thought that I'm a failure." It may sound small, but that tiny shift creates distance.
Inside that distance, something remarkable happens. The thought loses its power. It becomes just another experience. Not a command, not your identity. Just a passing moment.
Think about watching a movie. While you're absorbed, everything feels real. Your heart races. Your emotions respond. Then, someone reminds you, it's only a movie. Nothing on the screen changes. Only your perspective does. Thoughts work the same way. The moment you realize this is only a thought, its grip begins to weaken. You stop fighting it. You stop believing it. And slowly, you stop fearing it. The brain can learn new habits. This ability is called neuroplasticity. Every time you observe a thought without chasing it, you're building a calmer mind. One choice at a time. Think back to the beginning of this video. There was a question that seemed impossible. If you're the one listening, then who is actually talking? Now, you already know the answer. You are not every thought that appears. You are not every fear that visits your mind. You are not every memory that refuses to leave. Those things come and go. But something always remains. There has always been a quiet presence, watching every thought, every emotion, every success, every failure. It was there when you were a child. It's here as you watch this video. And it will still be here years from now. Maybe that's why the most beautiful moments in life are the ones where thinking quietly fades away. Watching the sunrise, listening to the rain, laughing with someone you love, looking up at a sky filled with stars. For a moment, you aren't trapped inside your mind. You're simply alive. Your inner voice is not your enemy. It evolved to protect you, to prepare you, to help you survive. But somewhere along the way, protection became overthinking. Preparation became worry. And the tool that once kept us alive started stealing our peace. The answer was never to destroy the voice. It was to understand it. Because the moment you stop believing every thought, the voice loses its power to control you. It becomes what it was always meant to be: a guide, not a master.
So the next time your mind replays an old mistake or imagines a future that hasn't happened, don't ask, how do I stop thinking? Ask something simpler. Do I have to follow this thought? Most of the time, the answer is no.
Peace isn't the absence of thoughts. It's the freedom to let them come and let them go. The voice may never disappear, but for the first time, you won't mistake it for yourself, because the conversation will continue. Only now, you'll finally know who's really listening.